great minds. Welcome to class today. Today we're going to look at a very interesting topic, which is preserving and discarding culture. Preserving and discarding culture. So in today's lesson, we'll learn what it means to preserve culture, what it means to discard culture, some good cultural practices that should be preserved, and some bad cultural practices that have been discarded. Okay, so now let's get started with the meaning of preserving culture. Preserving culture means keeping the important aspects of our culture for the future generation to learn from them. So anything that you do to keep culture, to keep your culture for your unborn children to meet them and learn from them is known as preserving culture. Now let's go over to discarding culture, but first of all, we'll explain the meaning of the word discard. Discard is an English word which means to do away with something which is bad, harmful, or no longer useful. When something is bad or no longer useful, we throw it away. So discarding culture means throwing away or stopping bad cultural practices that are harmful or unfair. Now let's look at some good cultural practices that should be preserved in Nigeria. The first one I have here is respect for elders. Nigerians are known to be very respectful people. You can see that in the way we greet our elders. You can see it in the way we respond to them, in the way we treat them generally, and it is a good cultural practice that should be preserved. Okay, now the second good cultural practice that should be preserved is respect for hard work. Nigerians are very hardworking people. Wherever you find Nigerians in any part of the world, you find them doing reasonable things. They are very hardworking, okay, and that's another good cultural practice that should be preserved. The third one I have here is high moral values. Moral values talk about what is wrong and what is right, okay. Nigerians have a high sense of differentiating between wrong and right and choosing to do the right thing. That is another good cultural practice that should be preserved. Okay, now let's look at some bad cultural practices that have been discarded in Nigeria. Some of them have been totally discarded, while we are still trying to discard some others. Okay, the first one I have here is killing of twins. That was a very bad cultural practice which was done in Nigeria many years ago. But thankfully, this particular one has been completely discarded. Many years ago in Calabar is a city in Cross River State here in Nigeria. It was believed that a set of twins will bring bad luck to the family and the community at large. And so whenever a woman gave birth to a set of twins, the babies would be killed. But thankfully, that practice has been stopped. It was stopped by a Christian missionary named Mary Slessor. Okay, and let's look at another bad cultural practice that should be discarded in Nigeria. This is tribalism. Tribalism means preferring one tribe to another or favoring people from one tribe over people from other tribes. Okay, when you like people from one tribe or one ethnic group more than you like people from other tribes or ethnic groups, that is tribalism, and it is a very bad cultural practice that has to be stopped, because everyone should be treated equally. We are all one. We should live together as one. Okay, now here is another bad cultural practice that we are trying to discard. It has reduced. This is ritual killing. Ritual killing is a bad cultural practice. It was very prevalent in Nigeria many years ago, but with the coming of Christianity and Islam, ritual killing has reduced, though it has not been completely discarded. Ritual killing is the killing of humans as a sacrifice to idols. It's a bad cultural practice, and it needs to be completely discarded. Now let's talk about this very bad cultural practice which was discarded here in Benin a few years back, which is Community Development Association. Let me explain what that means. In Benin and in some other parts of Nigeria, some years back, whenever anyone buys a piece of land and wants to build on the land, the people in the community would come around and ask the person to pay them a particular amount of money, a huge amount of money, else they will not allow him build on the land. It was a very bad cultural practice because it stopped many people from being able to build on their lands. But in the year 2016, our highly esteemed leader, the Oba of Benin, put a stop to any form of community development association, and he asked the associations to stop collecting fees from people who wanted to build on their lands. Okay, now let's look at some other bad cultural practices that should be discarded. This is poor maintenance culture. Poor maintenance culture is a situation when a group of people do not know how to take care of their personal belongings. Okay, and sadly, Nigerians are known to not be able to take care of their personal belongings. It's very bad, and it should be that behavior should be stopped. And as children, there are things that you can do to change the narrative, to change the story of poor maintenance culture. You can see your tables and your chairs. Those are the things that you use. You can take care of them, by not writing on them, not standing on them, okay? And not just your chairs and your tables, your personal belongings, your tabs, your toys at home, use them properly. When you do that, you'll be helping to stop the poor maintenance culture, okay? Now let's look at this other bad cultural practice, which is gender inequality. Gender talks about who you are, male or female. We have two types of gender, male or female. It's either you are male or you are female, okay? So gender inequality means to love one gender above the other. Now in Nigeria, some families love the male gender more than the female gender. That means some families prefer male children to female children, and it is a very bad cultural practice that should be stopped. Now let's look at some women who have proven that women can also be useful to the society. You can see Dr. Dora Akunyili, you can see Dr. Mrs. Jennifer Agbaira, you can see Dr. Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, you can see Dr. Stella Ameyo Adadevo. Okay, let me talk about this woman a little. She was a Nigerian doctor, and this woman helped in stopping the spread of the Ebola virus here in Nigeria. She put her life on the line. She risked her life to do that, and she died in the process. But even when she died, she was still considered a hero in her death because she was able to stop the spread of the Ebola virus. You can see the courage of a woman. And here is another woman who is known to most of us. This is Mrs. Omorege. So you can see that women are important, men are also important, everybody is equally important. So we should help in stopping the bad cultural practice of gender inequality. And you can do that as little children by respecting your sisters, okay, and respecting your female classmates as well. Do not look down on anybody, okay? So today we have learned about the meaning of preserving culture, what it means to preserve culture. We have learned about what it means to discard culture. We have learned about some good cultural practices that should be preserved in Nigeria, and we have also looked at some bad cultural practices that have been discarded and some that we are still trying to discard in Nigeria, okay? So with that, we have come to the end of the class. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.